Good morning, everyone. So today I thought I would show you what it's like as an indie author working on my book cover. Now, my experience is a little different from other indie authors, but if there are indie authors who are out there who are like me, I would really love to know. So I make all my own covers. Before I was ever writing books, I was working as a graphic designer that specialized in book covers, so that's a little bit of an advantage that I have. But recently I started drawing my own book covers, so that's what I'm going to show you today. We're actually drawing the character for the second book of Paper Thin Love, which is Ink Deep Devotion. It's Mila and Dash's second book, but it's actually the fourth book in the series, and they can be read out of order. So Ashes to Ashes and Dust to Dust. That's Titan and Nova's story, and then Paper Thin Love and Ink Deep Devotion is Dash and Mila's story. This is my drawing desk. It's a cruder setup. It's not as pretty, but I draw on my iPad Pro. I painted my office this dark green because that mossy green is one of my favorite colors, but it made the lighting really dark. So I've had to bring in all of these lights just to make sure when I'm drawing that my values are correct. So don't mind me as I put some lotion on. So as an indie author, I feel like something that's incredibly stressful for us is, especially when you get closer to your release date, which I'm really close now, there is just a behemoth behind us that's coming to chase us of so many things we have to do, from finalizing or making our own covers, to formatting the book, to making all the graphics, to sending out the ARC team, the beta team. And I feel like it just hit me today because I was looking at my calendar and I was like, oh my gosh, Mama's got things to do and she is feeling very tired, and I have a migraine today. But instead of dwelling on the negative things like the tiredness and the head pain, I just have to keep churning and going on. So I thought, let's pick ourselves up and let's do a little behind the scenes video for you guys. So gonna get started. For those of you who are into art and digital art, I love to draw in Procreate. So that is the app I'm using. I'm drawing on the iPad Pro and I'm using the Apple Pencil. I have not done the cover reveal, so I'm gonna try to keep him zoomed in so I don't spoil it for when I do want to do the cover reveal. And here is the first book. So I'm just kind of using this as an example to look. So in the book, Dash has very light blonde hair. And when I drew him with very light brows, it looked like freakish. So I drew him originally with darker brows, imagining them as like a slightly more golden blonde, but the cover's black and white. So we're gonna do the same here and do some darker brows. I will end up putting this video into a time lapse because I feel like for you guys, it's just gonna be too tedious to watch every single hair that I put on the brow. So as I got started, I've kind of drawn out my brow shapes, and I do love a bigger brow, and also he's a male model. He's not gonna have perfectly tweezed brows, so I wanna make it very fitting so it looks as real as possible. And I'm going in with just my little technical pencil. For those of you who are familiar with the Procreate app, you can see that I've tried to fiddle around and make a lot of my own brushes, but I really just like to use like two brushes, and that's the stubble brush and the technical pencil. And these are just my outline marks. I usually make these in red so I can see better, but I'm just gonna go in and erase. And basically this is what I do. The beauty of having the iPad is instead of lifting a whole canvas, I can just twist my image around, and that is so wonderful. And for those of you who don't know, I do still paint on canvas. I always started with oil painting, but now having a 3-year-old, it's very, very hard to take all the time to mix up all my oil paints and then not be able to paint. So having the iPad and kind of doing more digital art, it's been very liberating and cathartic because I still am able to draw and create, and I'm still like you know, utilizing those skills without letting them fade away. I just have really been loving the Procreate app and the iPad Pro, and also the new updated Apple Pencil has been great. Now also, here's a little drawing tip for you guys. I was starting up here, which I always start at the beginning of the brow, but then it's like you kind of want to think how the hair falls in layers. I'll try to use my brows as an example. They're not the breast, but basically the hair is like starting from here and it's falling back. So all of the hair at the front, that should be on top and laying on top. So I'm gonna start at the back, because then each line that I put on top is like falling. So you kind of have to, when you're drawing hair, Lord, it's so tedious, but kind of think of how it actually falls on the head. Like, I'm not gonna start drawing the top of my hair and then be like, oh, I need to draw the bottom, because all those little hairs that I'm adding in are then not gonna be layered how it grows on the head. So this video with my like behind the scenes, kind of a day in the life of what I'm doing as an indie author, this is more artsy. But I was thinking about other videos that I can make for you guys talking about the pros and cons of where to advertise your books. That's probably a video other authors will appreciate, but I feel like as readers, you guys will like to hear like some of our successes and failures. I'm going to put this in a time lapse so I can just speed it up. So enjoy. So I've got the shape of the brow and I'm pretty satisfied with it, but it's all kind of like the same value. And if you're thinking of this like artistically, where his brow bone is, that should be a high point, and then there should be some highlights and then some shadows. So I'm gonna just kind of go in now with a few darker colors, because I want where his brow bone hits right here, I want that to be like a highlight area, because with the direction of where the lighting is, that should be where the hair is the lightest. So I'm going to start going in and adding some darker hairs. And also, so my book drawings, I want them to be like hyper realistic, because I want these, at least this series, to resemble photos. So if I'm thinking of like realistic eyebrows, near the start of it, it's usually thinner there and more sparse, and then you'll also usually have like that random like little hair here or there. So I like to go in and add a few of those. And a fantastic tool I never utilized much when I was starting Procreate is the smudger brush, because like that little line was a little heavy, but I could just go in with the smudger brush and kind of like fade it out a little bit. So I'm going in with a few lighter hairs where his brow bone is. And you might be thinking like, oh goodness, this is quite a transition. There's a lot of contrast, but do not worry, because we're gonna blend it. I'm the type of artist where I like to go in and put in like all my details, and then I go back and like blend it out and smooth it out. And it honestly is like a song and dance, because it's like you add too much, you blend it away, you go back. It's just like this back and forth pattern that you do until you get, you know, something that settles well with you. And since he is a male and he doesn't have perfectly groomed brows, they always have these little stray hairs. So I'm just gonna go in and add a few of that. And then I will go back, and you will probably think, oh gosh, don't ruin his brows. We're gonna make Anastasia of Beverly Hills, who I love her brow products. I'm gonna try to make her proud, and I will go back in and smooth them out. So I will show you the magic of the smudger brush. Like right now, he's looking a little hairy. I take my little smudgy brush and I go very gently, kind of smooth it away. It just kind of like gently blurs it and diffuses it. And one thing when you're doing realistic hairs, like think of the depth. So where the root would be should be like further back, and this hair swinging up. So that look more natural if you faded it in these two spots. Just wondering, and I apologize to my people who are my followers, who are readers, that I'm probably talking too much about the art side today, but I'm just being genuine and this is who I am. I'm an author and also an artist, so I love talking about books and art. So if this is too artsy for you, don't fret, because I'm gonna have other videos about books that I'm reading and my books and everything else. But I don't want to have to edit this out and make separate profiles. I just want you guys to see like the actual process of me doing this. So I kind of am babbling about different topics, and this one is more artistic. My voice is very faint to begin with, and everyone has a hard time hearing me. So I hope you guys can hear me. This is me talking very loud. I feel like I'm talking very loud, and I know that might be shocking to some of you guys. I just am soft-spoken, and I've realized when I go back to watch some of the videos that I'm making that I have to turn the volume up all the way, and it's like I'm still struggling to hear myself. So I'm trying to be more cognizant of when I'm making videos of like projecting my voice, but it feels like it's straining on my voice. But like any muscle, we shall train it whether it likes it or not. So let's see, you guys. So here is one brow. I have a few other things I want to do. Like, I can't zoom out too far because I don't want to show you the whole cover reveal. But as you can see with the brows and a lot of his hair, you can see a lot of the individual strands. So what I will do, and it's a little bit tedious, I go in with my smudger brush and I kind of go in over every strand and kind of diffuse the ends and everything, just so it looks more natural. So that is usually one of my last steps that I do before I start putting the title and everything else over the cover. I will go in and start doing his other eyebrow. Hard to talk this loud. Had to stop for some water, but I am gonna keep his other eyebrow a surprise and show you guys that when I finish the final cover. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little insight of behind the scenes of what it's like to be an indie author. Some of the things when you're not writing your book, like doing the whole marketing and the formatting and all that, it just feels so monotonous, because writing the book is the passion, but you have to do all these other steps. And I just want to give a shout out to all my other indie authors there. When I was just a reader and I wasn't an author, I had no idea of the amount of work that went into self-publishing a book. Like, I thought I had an idea, but then when I went into actually doing it myself, it is like a million times more work than I ever would have imagined. So I want to thank all the readers out there who support indie authors who, you know, are struggling to get like one book sale and one review for their book. Reviews, that's another video I should make, because I had no idea before how hard it is to get people to leave reviews for your book. It's like mind-boggling. I have a lot of experiences I'll share with you guys, because I feel like when I was a reader, that was like a black hole mystery. And a lot of the people watching my videos, you guys are book bloggers, so you guys are very active in reading reviews. But it's a small niche, and I found out that only like 2% of the readers out there are leaving reviews. So yeah, that's another thing I discovered when I was an indie author. But lucky for me, I was not the type of reader who would pick a book based on reviews. I was probably very biased. Since I have my graphic design background, I would strictly pick a book by the cover first and then the blurb. And I usually didn't read the reviews, but I know that's not how most readers work. So yeah, I'm sorry, I just went off on a tangent, but that's another great idea for a video that I'll bring you guys. But I just want to end this with a shout out to all my indie authors out there, to all the readers who support indie authors, and all the artists and graphic designers out there, because I know with everything going on in the world of digital marketing and everything, graphic design is a shrinking job, because everyone's just going on and making their own book covers. So for those authors who still hire graphic designers to make their book covers, thank you so much for supporting that community. And also, like you can see, I just had a little tongue twist there. I'm not editing it out. I'm not refilming. So for those of you who are watching, I'm sorry if you see a little slip of the words every now and then, but I like to be as authentic as possible, so this is just me, and sometimes I slip my words up, and sometimes I get out of breath or I lose my voice from trying to project it. But yeah, that's just me, and welcome to my world of writing my own books and drawing my own book covers.